Hi, my name's Ben Lackey. In this video, I'm going to show you how to deploy Couchbase using the Azure CLI. All right, let's get started. So first off, I'm going to exit out of this presentation. And what you see here is a web browser open to GitHub. This is the Couchbase Partners Organization and the Azure Resource Manager Couchbase GitHub repo. So this contains a couple different things. It has some documentation. This includes best practices guide we're working on, extensions, which are shell scripts that the template uses, as well as a marketplace and a simple template. If you're deploying from the command line, the simple template is probably what you want to use, as it is simpler. The marketplace template requires a couple more parameters and variables that aren't necessary from the command line. So in order to deploy this, we're going to need to click the clone or download button, click copy to clipboard here, and switch over to our terminal. And I can make a copy of the repo locally by typing the command git clone and pasting the name of our repo. So that downloads, looks like it was about 5 meg, and I now have a directory called Azure Resource Manager Couchbase. This has that same structure we just saw up on GitHub, and I'm going to change directory into the simple directory. See a couple different files here. There's an Azure PowerShell script, another shell script that runs the Azure CLI, either 1.0 or 2.0. We can actually cat this file to see what's in it. And you can see the 1.0 commands, and then the 2.0 commands are commented out. The 2.0 is currently in preview, so we're using the 1. This script takes one parameter, the name of a resource group. There are a couple other things in this folder. There's a main template, which, as it says, the main template. That references two subtemplates, network security groups and nodes. Finally, there's this main template parameters, and that's passed into the main template at runtime. And we can look at the main template parameters and see the different values in here. It's going to deploy 50 nodes, a relatively small node type, a 2-core machine, with a username and password given here. This username and password will be used both for SSH into the nodes, as well as to access the Couchbase administrator. Okay, so we can run the command Azure group list to list any resource groups we have currently. And as you can see, there aren't any at this point. So we're going to run deploy.shell, and that's going to create a new resource group, call it Ben1, and it'll build our cluster in there. So hit enter, and now this starts running. And first it creates that resource group, it's right here, and now it's submitting the deployment. And it's now waiting for the deployment to complete. This is going to take a number of minutes. So at this point, I'm going to pause the recording while we wait for that to complete. All right, so this just finished, and we can see here it's now 7:23 p.m. So it's been about 12 minutes since we started the deploy. And we can see a number of things have been printed out here. The number of nodes we provisioned. Notice our password is shown as undefined. It's hidden because it's a secure string. And then we have this URL for our admin tool. And this URL is VM0. There are actually 50 VMs, 1, 2, 3, so we could type VM20 and access that too. And note this is on port 8091. So I'm going to paste this URL into our web browser, and yeah, let's change it to a different one. Let's try VM22. all these admins are the same since it's a peer-to-peer architecture. So now we're presented with the login screen, and I'm going to enter in the username and password from earlier and hit enter. Don't need to remember these passwords. And you can see there's 50 nodes of Couchbase running here. And we can click server nodes and view them individually and all the normal things you can do with Couchbase. We can also go look at this deployment in the Azure portal at portal.azure.com. And it redirects us for a minute. And if we click on resource groups, we can see our resource group, Ben1. Click on that. And then we can see all the different assets in here. An availability set, which is how Microsoft contains fault domains and upgrade domains that are sort of analogous to availability zones in other clouds. Then network security groups, and then a whole bunch of NICs, a whole bunch of public IP addresses, and disks down here, as well as the virtual machines. And note, for each machine, there are two disks. One is a data disk, where the data from the database is stored, and the other is an OS disk, where the operating system is stored. Right, so that's our cluster running. One more thing we can do, if we go back to the terminal, I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to open a new terminal window, and I can SSH to Couchbase, the username I'd provided, at that address. And if I enter in that, I'm logged in. And from here I can poke around and do all sorts of things. If I sudo under var lib wagent for Windows Azure Agent custom script download 0, quite a mouthful of path, there's where the extension actually ran. So I can cat the standard out file and actually see how the install happened and all that. It's kind of interesting. So that's about it. We've installed Couchbase from the command line, a 50-node cluster, all by running one command, deploy.shell, and then the name of a resource group. I hope this was useful, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me online. Good luck.